welcome to the Tech Life Well podcast. We're delighted to have you with us.
Where we make technology simple, thoughtful, and useful. For more insights and episodes, visit techlifewell.com.
Welcome to the Tech Life Well podcast, hosted by Theo Hale and Aria Wells.
Today is Saturday, February 14th, 2026. And, if you are looking at your software stack today, you are looking at a landscape that has just shifted dramatically.
It really, really has. If you've been trying to keep up with the explosion of AI tools, you probably feel like you're drowning.
Oh, absolutely.
It seems like every week there's a new game changer. But today, we're not just listing tools. We're going to cut through that noise and find what actually works for professionals. We're talking about the difference between a chatbot that, writes a poem and an ecosystem that actually does things.
And that distinction is the whole ballgame now. We've moved from these simple generative models, hey, write me an email, to what we're calling agentic ecosystems.
So these are systems that plan, they have memory.
Exactly, they execute tasks on your behalf.
It's the difference between having a stenographer and having a partner. So we're going to break this down. We'll look at coding, then writing and research, visual design, and finally, the very tricky world of logic and math.
And through all of that, we'll hit on some key themes. Things like AI native workflows, why context is everything, and of course, how to avoid those dreaded AI hallucinations.
So let's kick things off with the sector that I think has seen the most, which is the most radical evolution, coding.
It really has. I mean, if you think back even just a couple of years ago, AI in coding was basically autocomplete.
Right. It was helpful, sure.
Helpful, but, limited, like a smart spell checker for your code.
Exactly. You'd be typing a function, it guesses the end of the line. Helpful, but small thinking.
Yeah.
But now, in 2026, we have what people are calling AI native IDEs, integrated development environments.
And that's a really key distinction to make. These aren't text editors with a plugin anymore. They are built around AI as a core component.
So what's the big name there?
Well, the standout, and the one that keeps coming up, is Cursor.
Oh, Cursor is fascinating. It's forked from VS Code, so it feels familiar, but the brain inside is completely different.
The killer feature is the repository level indexing.
And that's where context becomes a superpower, right? Most bots, they only see the 10 lines of code you're typing.
Exactly. Cursor understands the relationship across hundreds of files in your entire project. It's doing retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, natively.
Okay, let's unpack RAG for a second, because that term gets thrown around a lot.
It does.
In plain English, it means the AI isn't just guessing based on its training data. It's actually looking at your specific files before it gives you an answer.
Right. So if you change a function in some obscure file in your backend, Cursor knows that you just broke something 5 folders away in the front end. It holds the whole map in its head.
That is the dream. There's this great concept from Andrej Karpathy, former director of AI at Tesla.
The autonomy slider. Love that visual.
It's perfect, isn't it? It's this idea that you can choose how much control you hand over. Sometimes you just want tab completion.
Classic autofill.
Other times you hit Command K for a targeted edit. But now, with a tool like Cursor, you can slide that bar all the way to agentic autonomy.
Which means you can actually say, refactor this entire module to use the new API.
Yeah.
And then just take your hands off the keyboard.
And watch it open 5 different files and rewrite them all at once.
Yeah. But that watching part is interesting. For some people, letting the ghost take the wheel is, it's terrifying.
It is. And that brings us to a competitor that's taking a slightly different approach. Windsurf.
Windsurf. Even the name sounds smoother.
It does. Windsurf is all about flow. They have this feature, Cascade. And while Cursor is great for those big agentic handoff tasks, Windsurf tries to keep you in the loop. It actually narrates the AI's internal reasoning to you in real time.
And that transparency is huge.
Yeah.
Instead of a black box spitting out code, Windsurf is saying, okay, now I'm reading this file, now I'm checking this dependency, now I'm writing the fix.
It cuts down on that context switching, that feeling of, what is this thing even doing? It builds trust.
Precisely. But we shouldn't count out the incumbent here. GitHub Copilot is still a massive player.
Oh, for sure. Copilot is still the best for most for your day-to-day coding. It's got that deep integration, and for just fast inline text completion or spinning up unit tests, it is incredibly snappy.
It's less take the wheel and more, let's speed up what you're already doing.
Exactly. However, there's a dark side to all this agentic power, a phenomenon people are calling agent thrashing.
Agent thrashing. It sounds like a punk band.
It does, but it's a massive headache for developers.
It's when an agent tries to make a complex change across many files and just gets stuck in a loop. It'll make repetitive edits, or worse, contradictory ones.
So it fixes a bug in file A.
Which breaks file B. So it goes and fixes B, which then breaks A all over again.
That is the nightmare scenario. You come back from a coffee break expecting magic, and instead your code base is just a mess of contradictions.
It's a mess. And that's why tools like root code are gaining this reputation for reliability. It's designed specifically to handle those large, multi-file changes without getting stuck in that thrashing state.
So if you're doing heavy architectural lifting, you're looking at root code or Cursor.
Right. And if you want more of a collaborative flow where you see the thinking, you look at Windsurf.
And for just daily speed, Copilot's still your go-to.
That's a pretty fair summary.
Yeah.
But, coding is logic-based. Let's pivot to something a bit more subjective, a place where I think a lot of our listeners spend their time writing and research.
This is huge. And honestly, I feel like people fall into two camps here. Either you want a sounding board to bounce ideas off of, or you want a rigorous editor to clean up your mess. The best tool really depends on your goal.
Well, if we're talking about natural human-sounding prose, something that just flows and has a real voice, the clear winner in 2026 is Anthropic's Claude.
Oh, I use Claude constantly. There's just something about it that feels less robotic.
It is.
It doesn't use those dead giveaways like starting every paragraph with furthermore or in conclusion.
It has fewer of those LLM artifacts.
Yeah.
It's also incredibly good at nuance. But the feature that really sets it apart for workflow isn't just the text, it's the artifacts feature.
Artifacts changed the game for me. Instead of the AI just chatting at you in a linear stream, if you ask it for code or a document, it pops it into a separate window right there.
It turns the chat into a real workspace. You can see the draft, you can interact with it while you keep the conversation going separately. It's brilliant.
So Claude is the creative writer in the room. But on the other side of that, you've got OpenAI's ChatGPT with GPT 5.2. And while Claude might win on vibes, ChatGPT is winning on structure.
Right. If you need to brainstorm a really complex outline or format a table or do that kind of iterative refinement on a rigid document, ChatGPT is often just better. It follows instructions so precisely.
I like using it for what I call a grader pass. I'll finish a draft, paste it into ChatGPT, and just say, flag every single claim in here that has weak reasoning or is missing evidence.
That's a great use case. It's brutal, but helpful.
Oh, it's brutal. And then for that final step, we can't ignore Grammarly.
Grammarly is like the old reliable friend. It's not trying to write the novel for you.
No, but to make sure you don't look silly.
It is essential for that final polish. And in an enterprise setting, it's doing more. It's enforcing on-brand consistency across email, Slack, Google Docs. It's not about deep thinking, it's about clarity.
Speaking of safety, let's talk research. Because using a chatbot for research used to be a total gamble. You'd ask for a citation and it would just invent a book.
Yeah, invent a book by an author who wasn't real. Hallucinations are still a risk, for sure, but tools like Perplexity are fundamentally changing how we search.
Perplexity has basically replaced my search engine.
For a lot of people, you have features like Pro Search and Deep Research.
Yeah.
You ask a complex question, and it doesn't just guess. It performs dozens of searches in the background, reads hundreds of sources, and then reasons through all that material to create a synthesis.
And the best part, the citations.
The citations. Numbered and linked directly to the original source. You're not just taking the AI's word for it. You can actually click through and verify everything.
Now, for the academics listening, or the really heavy-duty researchers, there are even more specialized tools, right? Like GenAI and SciSpace.
These are incredible. SciSpace has a database of, I think it's 280 million papers.
Yep.
It's designed to help you decode really complex scientific texts.
So you can highlight a paragraph of jargon.
And it will explain it in plain English,
Right.
backed by evidence from other papers. And GenAI helps with the actual writing process for academics. It's got built-in citation generators for APA, MLA, everything you need.
But we have to address the H word, hallucinations. Even with these amazing tools, the models can still just make things up.
Absolutely. Even the biggest context models hallucinate. They're probabilistic, they're just predicting the next likely word, not the actual truth. They don't know facts, they just know patterns.
So what's the defense against that?
The defense is you. You have to have a human in the loop. Never just copy and paste without reading. And a great little tip is to use a specific prompt. I call it the fact audit.
A fact audit, how does it work?
After the AI generates a text, You just prompt it back with this. List every claim in this text that needs a citation or verification. It forces the model to review its own output and flag the danger zones for you.
That is brilliant. It's like asking a student, are you sure about that? And watching them scramble to double check their work.
Exactly. It forces a layer of self-reflection on the model.
All right, let's move from text to pixels. Visuals and design. This area, it feels like it matured overnight. We went from those weird melty faces to, production-grade art.
The shift has been from experimental to professional, 100%. But for professionals, the choice really comes down to one question. Are you an artist or are you a corporation?
Okay, explain that distinction.
Well, if you're an artist chasing a very specific aesthetic or a vibe, Midjourney is still the king. It's opinionated, it's artistic. But if you're a creative director at a Fortune 500 company, you probably can't use it. The copyright issues are just too murky.
You need safety. You need to know where the images came from.
That's where Adobe Firefly steps in. It's the commercial safety option.
Yeah.
Adobe trained Firefly on their own. Adobe stock images, content they have the rights to. So big corporations don't have to worry as much about those legal gray areas.
Plus, it's integrated right into Photoshop. Generative fill it's just magic. It fits into the workflow professionals are already using.
And they have content credentials. Yeah. It's like a digital nutrition label for an image. It embeds metadata that says this was created with AI. It brings transparency of the whole process.
Okay, but there's a newcomer I've been hearing a lot about, Flux 2 Max. What's the story there?
Flux is really interesting. It focuses on real-world grounding and critically consistency. It uses something called a flow matching architecture.
And what does that mean for the user? Like, what's the output?
It means poor level detail. It means accurate lighting that actually respects physics. And the big one, multi-reference control.
Oh, that's the holy grail of character generation.
It is. You can upload 10 reference images of a character or a product, and Flux can generate new images where that character looks exactly the same. No more morphing faces between frames.
That's huge for storytelling or branding. And speaking of workflow, I've found that conversational editing in DALL-E 3 and ChatGPT is just a lifesaver for non-designers like me.
How so?
Well, instead of trying to write the perfect 50-word prompt from scratch, you just generate an image and then you talk to it. You say, make the lighting more cinematic, or can you remove the person in the background? It iterates on what's already there.
It really mimics that relationship between a creative director and a designer. You give feedback and the work evolves.
Exactly. Okay, so we've covered coding, writing, and art. But there's one area where AI has historically just fallen flat on its face: math and logic.
Yes. And this goes right back to the nature of large language models. Like we said, they're word predictors. If you ask them to do strict math, they might hallucinate an intermediate step because it looks like the right pattern, even if the numbers are totally wrong.
They're like a student who memorized the textbook but doesn't actually understand the formulas.
That's the perfect analogy. So for 2026, the solution isn't a better chatbot. It's symbolic AI. And the gold standard there is, and has been for a while, Wolfram Alpha.
Wolfram doesn't guess, right? It computes.
No guessing. It uses symbolic rule-based logic. It computes the actual answer. If you need to solve an integral or balance a chemical equation, it gives you the exact factual result. Every time.
So the best workflow is actually a hybrid approach.
Yes. You use ChatGPT to explain the concept or set up the word problem. It's brilliant at language. But then you use a plugin to hand the actual math off to Wolfram for the real calculation.
There's also Math GPT for students, which is pretty cool.
Right. That's a great example of multimodal tutoring. You can literally upload a photo of a handwritten math problem, and it generates a video explanation of how to solve it.
That's incredible. Now, I know benchmarks can be a bit dry, but are the main models getting any smarter at this stuff? At reasoning?
They are, slowly. We're seeing these thinking models like GPT 5.2 thinking and Gemini 3 Pro scoring very high on benchmarks like the AM, which is a serious math competition. So they're getting better at simulating reasoning chains, but for anything high stakes, I would still verify with a symbolic engine.
So we've toured the landscape of 2026. We have autonomous coding agents, we have empathetic writers, safe designers, symbolic calculators. If you zoom out from all of this, what's the big headline?
I think the headline for 2026 is ubiquitous agents. We have moved from just content creation to actual problem solving.
It's not just about generating text anymore, it's about getting a job done.
And the competitive advantage for you, for the listener, is all about managing context. The tools that are winning like Cursor, with its repository indexing, or Perplexity with its deep research, are the ones that can hold the most context about your specific project.
They know who you are and what you're working on. They're not starting from scratch every single time you talk to them.
Exactly. But I want to leave you with one final thought here. As these models get better and better, as they sound more human and look more real, the line between artificial and human output is it's blurring completely.
It is getting harder and harder to tell the difference.
It is. And that means the defining skill of 2026 isn't going to be prompt engineering. We spent years learning how to talk to the machines. The new critical skill is verification.
Verification.
Can you discern the truth when the machine is incredibly persuasive but fundamentally wrong? Can you spot the subtle hallucination in a perfectly formatted report? That is the human value add now.
Verification over generation. That's a really powerful place to leave it. Thank you so much for breaking all this down.
My pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Follow Tech Life Well podcast channel for more helpful episodes.